Hey everybody, welcome back to Springrealms. So we are here on site once again with the Cold Forge. That is dungeon number 2 of the Springrealms. And it looks like a bunch of stained clay here, doesn't it? It's probably because Moriboka's Island is actually a mesa. But if I take a look up around here, we can see it takes a bit more shape, more over this way than anywhere else. And we have come leaps and bounds in building this place, partially because I figured out how to make repeating command blocks that just issue fill commands, so this, like, battery of blocks over here just gives you repeating command blocks that do various things for utility, and that's mostly how we've managed to get this outer wall done, plus or minus some very, very lovely detailing by Aeneas, who I think is floating around over here somewhere. Let's see if we can spot them. Yep, there they are. They would be chatting with us today, but unfortunately, their internet at university is not grand, to say the minimum. But after that, we also have World Guard installed, so I no longer need to have my, 8-block long command block chain to keep this place free of mobs while we're working on it. Which is lovely. Magnificent. And we got the unlit currently, although you wouldn't really know it from how it looks right now. There we go, if I did that. Yeah, the unlit campfire here, which lets you know what this area is known as, and also allows you to very swiftly bind yourself here so you can respawn. It's just sort of slightly draped over the bedrock box responsible for the region highlight, and not terribly much has deviated from the actual layout that we saw last episode, but it is just, oh boy, I kind of just have to show off the interior here because it is gorgeous. So, here we have the entryway, and in we come, and we recall the Great Kiln from before, but now, oh, it's just beautiful. Let me just give myself some night vision, so you guys can see that a bit better. Whoop, that is the wrong way around, isn't it? Blip, blip. There we go. No? It's something like 30. Night vision has a very specific point where it decides that it's going to be flickering like that. There we go. So yeah, we've got a ton of magma blocks here. Magma blocks are turning up in this dungeon in a very big way, because it means I don't have to give people lava. Giving people lava is not a problem for this dungeon. It is a problem for basically every other dungeon, however. So giving people lava is something that I am being very cautious about. But, zombie in a boat holding a grass block at your house. Oh, okay then. Oh, I think that might be your cousin stricken. Anyways, as I was saying, oh, and there goes Aeneas, yeah. So the kiln is fully functional, so when it is lit, this area is functional, so you plunk down, I think it's about 54 iron blocks, flip the lever, and it just shunts them in there, and you get drops turning up over here near the entranceway, which is going to be fairly safe compared to the entryway of Basila. But the main difficulty of this dungeon, of course, is in lighting it, so let me give myself a bit longer, and we'll also go with, is it true to hide particles? Yes, it is. Okay, 300 seconds, about 5 minutes. So we can see this lovely bridge work that Aeneas has been doing, and the first place you want to come down here, you can see there's a little name in the distance here, red sand, because we have somehow managed to almost completely deplete red sand on Moriboka's Island already, because a bunch of it got turned into red sandstone. So the first room we come into is here, and let me see, we've got emergency vent, auxiliary vent, and initiate manual pilot lighting. This might give you some idea, you can see some magma coming in here, of what just is down here. Flooring, lovingly detailed by virtue of using World Edit, because I can set proportions of materials in the floor. So there's coal as well, which is a teeny bit harder to get than it should be right now. A lot of people have resorted to making charcoal, but coal does appear in some of the islands, not quite all of them though, so consequently having it be appearing here is a nice touch. But, let me just... is it 0? Yes, it is 0. So take that away from me. So here we have the innate flame, which looks really, really nice here. I love this sort of aesthetic that it's heating the air around it so much that parts of the walls are just sort of starting to melt, more or less. And if we come close to it, it starts trying to set us on fire as well. And this is a big part of lore, because basically spirits that Acheron made from the Spring of Soul they're sort of steam, basically. That might be why they appear as clouds a bunch of the time. And part of their composition is actually fire, a form of fire provided by Moriboka. And the innate flame sort of predates that. It's a much bigger, more impressive thing. And as long as this stays lit, furnaces can smelt metal. That is why you can do that here. If that ever gets put out, which thankfully nothing but a god probably could, then you can't really use furnaces very much. But you see the container has been broken. Oh dear, oh dear. And in fact the funnel that takes it to the actual space that it's supposed to be venting out to light the kiln has also been broken off by the drakes. So the idea here is that this occasionally spits out embers that you can carry to the kiln, but you have to go very specific routes. So up there was initiate venting. That locks off this area, but opens the next two. Let me just go into spirit mode for this. Opens the next two, so these two get opened, and you get to see that from here, so you have a very clear idea of what's happening. You come along, and you notice that this has been opened, and you can maybe go through there. Otherwise, you can open the auxiliary vent, which is this, which then also locks off this part, which is the other stairway, and opens this. And this is the area we're currently most working on. This is the fuel injection section, where you really don't want to be running through whilst you're embered, because you are basically on fire, and you turn cobblestone beneath you into magma blocks. So, yikes. But here we also have another source of coal for people. It's in a dungeon, yes, but I wasn't going to give you anything like renewable like this without there being some degree of risk. So then you can run through here, and you can get to this very handy little lip that takes you right into the fire pit of the Great Kiln. And inside the Great Kiln, of course, we have here, this now, the doorway entryway into this works. So whenever the boss is live, this netherbrick turns into glowstone to give you a nice visual clue that you can actually go in there. Same with the actual, like, smelting, I guess you'd call it, over there. So you come up, you flip the switch, it teleports the nearest person to the door into here, and I think I'm getting teleported out because I'm very close to that. So yeah, if you get too close to the upside there, it actually gets, you get teleported out, so you get teleported down to the ground here, otherwise. And I've also gotten part of the wiring done for the boss encounter itself. It's not done yet, but let me see if I can show it off a little bit. So let me see, if I give myself scoreboard players tag @p add boss target. Whoop, yep, there we go. So the boss has the capacity to target up to 3 people with homing projectiles like that. And they don't just hit the ground and fizzle like that in the end, but they will be quite interesting to watch happen and go around. But yeah, it's not 100% perfect, I admit, but I kind of prefer it to not be 100% predictable, because the boss right here is a fiery personality, shall we say. And then, of course, through here we have, let's see, so there's one doorway there, there's another one here, and that leads to the bellows. And the route that you're supposed to take is you light the pilot light, and then you eject the fuel, and then you apply the bellows. If you do it in the wrong order, you can reset the whole thing, and you have to start over. So, have to be careful with that. But once you've managed to get the kiln lit, you can then access the boss, or you can start using the actual smelting, the iron trading. You don't actually need to kill the boss to use the smelting. It's it's mostly that everybody has gotten a lot of iron, Like, people have just stacks and stacks and stacks of iron. And whilst that's not necessarily a bad thing, it does sort of make iron a little bit of a junk resource. So we want to try and find a way to get it out of the economy, if you will. So having this system really gives people more reason to mine iron, yes, but also a big place to spend it. So it's a huge, it's a gold sink, basically, is what it is. In video games, you have to deal with economies and such very carefully. So what you generally have is you have ways that players get gold, and then ways that players can get rid of gold. And if one is unlimited and the other isn't, then what happens is the gold in the system balloons, the wealth inflates, and consequently that means that you need to have a place to sink it out and get rid of it. In this case, we have this system, which should hopefully do quite nicely. That is almost a stack of iron per smelt, so... Well, that's almost a stack of iron blocks per smelt, so hopefully it will do its job quite happily. I think that will be like maybe half a dozen or maybe a dozen tops smelt per person right now with the iron supplies that they have, although I have no doubt that they're going to be stockpiling it even higher once this place becomes accessible. But yeah, the dungeons also, as you can tell by like the abundance of stained clay and hardened clay and the appearance of red sand around here, the dungeons also serve as sources of renewable materials that are otherwise limited in the boss's island. So, the mesa that Moriboka runs is still a mesa, but it's a limited mesa because it doesn't regen, because if it regened, I would just gradually, destroy everybody's house and belongings. So, if you want to actually get a renewable source of hardened clay and red sand and whatnot, you come here. And you can, of course, take away from the kiln as well. I don't know why you would, over the materials, of course, but you know. But yeah, you can totally do that. You can't dig into the boss room, though, that's something. But you can take the magma blocks. The magma blocks are... I'm expecting magma blocks to turn up in a big fashion after this. But for now, they're just a danger here. And I haven't installed any of the drakes yet. I haven't installed any of the mob spawners yet. But hopefully this thing will look like one big looming mesa in the sky when we're done with it. Looks pretty sweet already. And I think it really does. But it really does put Basila's corrupted fortress to shame, I feel. Which, Basila was made in very early days, and it was made dominantly by just me in a hurry. So I can kind of understand that. But anyways, this is the Cold Forge, and the next episode we'll see the Springrealm Red Makers taking it on and seeing if they can relight the kiln. And hoo boy, is that going to be fun. And hopefully we'll have Aeneas along for that as well, at least in some description. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed, and I shall catch you all next time. And now, a special word from Aeneas of Troy.
I've been helping Lang co-admin the Springrealm server, and I've been assisting him in building the dungeons. When we kind of went on to designing Moriboka's The Cold Forge, I was kind of looking at the other islands that was unlocked, and that it was a mesa biome. And as I was thinking about forging and everything, I started thinking of volcanoes and the mesa and our own design that we wanted to avoid a very linear dungeon and also one that's built of chambers and corridors. Not very interesting, not very forge-like, where kind of when you want to workshop everything kind of wants to be on hand or not immediately in sight, but you can get to it. So I've kind of taken a mock mesa caldera of a volcano as the approach when I just started designing it, and just working with the materials of the mesa, keeping the feeling of fire and that this was once a very busy location, a lot of work being done, but has since fallen into a bit of disrepair. No one's been here for a while, and those who have been here, well, they only want Moriboka back. They don't want you back. You're not Moriboka.